what to do instead? This is a good question. What should we be doing instead of idols? This answer we can also find in the New Testament. In Ephesians chapter 5, verse 5, "For you know this, that no fornicator, nor unclean person, or covetous one, who is an idolater, has any inheritance in the kingdom of Christ and of God." When it comes to easy verses to understand, this verse puts it very simply. Those who commit idolatry will not make it to heaven. It lists idol worship with the same people who fornicate and with those who are unclean. However, this isn't the only verse that talks about these things. There are other verses that talk about the same kind of themes and have the same meanings and conclusions. If we flip over to Romans chapter 11, verse 4, where it says, "But what does the divine answer say to him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to Baal." God doesn't really care how few people might follow the correct way, whether it is in the hundreds, the thousands, or millions. Whatever it is, what God does want is everyone to be saved. However, He only wants those who are going to be faithful and to be true to Him. This is exactly why when it talks about it in these verses here, it talks about those who are reserved. The ones that God chooses and reserves are those who are loyal to Him. In Romans chapter 1, verses 22 and 23, "Professing to be wise, they became fools, and changed the glory of the incorruptible God into the image made like corruptible man, and birds, and four-footed animals, and creeping things." Just as this verse is talking about, there are going to be people that act like they are wise and know what they are doing and talking about. However, those people are the ones who are going to foolishly say they think that they know how the image of God is supposed to look like. However, God is everlasting. He is the first, He is the last, He is the beginning and the end. We can see that in Revelations chapter 22, verse 13. There is no way that we can take those statistics and apply that to anything that is here on earth, that is going to just rust and break away at some point or another. Revelations chapter 21, verse 8 says, "But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars will have their part in the lake burning with fire and brimstone, which is the second death." This verse here, while it's talking about all of the activities that will lead into this second death and all the people that will be there, the most interesting thing about this verse is that it groups all of them together. Those who are liars and unbelievers are in the same group here as murderers. Yet this exact same group here are those who are idolaters, the main focus of this month's study. There is a meaning of why it was grouped like this. Jesus wanted both His audience at the time and for us, being the future readers of this, to be able to look at this list. Not only to realize that sin is sin and that there are no levels because it all just misses the mark, but He also wanted us to be able to look and to relate to idolatry as being the same as murder. Anytime that we or someone else come across idolatry, it will just be like we have witnessed a murder. That image alone should be enough to convey the seriousness that Jesus was trying to portray here, which is why we get all sorts of reminder verses all throughout the Bible of what we are supposed to be doing, like we can find over in 1 John chapter 5, verse 21. "Little children, keep yourself from idols." Amen. There are other verses that talk about how bad it is to be involved in idolatry, like 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 20. "But I say that the things which the nations sacrifice, they sacrifice to demons and not to God, and I do not desire that you should have fellowship with demons." Here it states that whenever people make sacrifices to any and all fake and false gods, that they are actually making sacrifice to demons. And whenever we word it like that, who wants to make sacrifices to demons to make them stronger? No one would. This is why it is important to God that we obey this original commandment that we read over in Exodus chapter 20 verses 4 and 5. Because God doesn't want us to be in fellowship with demons.